What is going on, everybody? We are here on the field at Bank of America Stadium for our post-game show where, unfortunately, the Carolina Panthers fell to the San Francisco 49ers by a score of 37-15. How's it going, everybody? I am Andre Cassidy with the man of the people, Chris Jenkins.
I love working for you guys, even when we're losing.
Even when we're losing. I mean, it is a privilege to be able to do that for you guys. But, man, what a difficult performance today by the Carolina Panthers. Just difficult.
Yeah, it was tough, man. It was tough. We made it through it, but we're here to work for the fans, give you guys a recap of things what the coaches and players are saying and some other thoughts. So we're going to go ahead and roll into it with what do we got here first, Andre?
You got some stats?
Do I got the stats? Let's go over the
stats.
stats. I'm trying to make sure that, we always, I shouldn't say always because we're going to try to change it. We've had technical difficulties in the past. So I'm trying to get my monitor up so I can make sure that if there's something wrong.
And this is a collaborative effort, too. So if there's something on my end that I need to get going here or something on his end, we're here to call each other out. But, hey, that's part of what we do here.
All right, you ready to go over some stats?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right,
let's see what we got pulling up here. So Baker Mayfield with the Carolina pass attack today. I mean, he did relatively okay for his standards. 20 of 36, 215 passing yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. And that interception in the first half was really I don't know if you could blame him or McCaffrey or one or the other, but, I mean, it was just a poor way to end the first half and really a game that was relatively close up to that point.
Yep. Keep you going through them all.
Let's keep on going here with the rush attack. Christian McCaffrey had 14 carries for 54 yards. So a little bit of an uptick compared to last week. There was definitely an emphasis of getting the ball to McCaffrey. Deontay Foreman also getting into the scheme of things as well. But for sure, definitely it was something that they were trying to do in the first half of the game. Well, ultimately, when the game started to chip away in the second half, I mean, they really didn't have many opportunities to run the football because they were forced to throw the ball, being down by 2 or 3 possessions over the course of the second half. And as we move forward into the receiving game, Shi Smith with the leading yards getter today with 69 yards off of 4 catches. DJ Moore, 4 catches for 59 yards. Christian McCaffrey, the most receptions out of the team today, 7 catches. And Terrence Marshall as well making his name and impact felt in today's game. And his first game that he's been active this season for 4 catches for 30 yards.
Yeah, and how about Terrence Marshall with those 4 catches, 30 yards? Not like lighting it up, but he was able to get out there and get some reps, which is something that he hasn't been able to do.
Up to this point.
Yeah, it's up to this point. So I think it's good for his confidence getting out there, getting some of those reps.
And then as we look at the defensive stats today, and I know you were really high on Damian Wilson today.
So let me quick interjection here.
Interject, please.
Is it called interjection?
Yes.
So, Damian Wilson had a really good game today. I actually talked to this guy a lot in the locker room, so I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm going to try to have him on the show tomorrow. I feel good about it, so that's what I'm going to say what my intentions are. But he had a really good game today, really good game. But I'll let you take over.
Filling in for Frankie Louvu, too. Justin Burris, another guy who is filling in for Jeremy Chin, and that's something we'll cover later in the show, too, all the injuries that Carolina had to deal with as well. Corey Littleton with 7 total tackles as well. So, I mean, defensively speaking, there were a lot of guys that did their part, and they held their own, but ultimately San Fran just took over the course of the game.
And actually, I'm going to steal this one for you. Can I steal this one?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we don't normally show the kickoff returns. You know why? It's usually not really worth showing, but I had to dig this up today and put it on the screen for you guys. Raheem Blackshear. Now, some of this, granted, was helped by the fact that I won't say finally as if it's a good thing, but the team put up a lot of points on us, and therefore there's a lot of opportunities to get some returns. But nevertheless, in a league where kickers kick it out the end zone all day long, give props to Raheem for kicks were still being caught in the end zone. He was bringing them out. Look at these yards here. I can't tell you the last time I've seen this. A guy had over 200 return yards.
That's unheard of.
200.
For any Panthers returner. Nevertheless, Raheem Blackshear, who really gave the team some life in moments where they just did not have any sort of anything really going offensively. He really gave them the energy that they needed over the course of the game with those returns.
Yeah, 28.6 yard average, 48 yard long. I think he brought the ball out to the 50 like about twice.
Yeah.
Very close to it. I was trying to run and do breaks, like get food and all kinds of
Right,
stuff
and then he's
at
over
those
here
points.
running it out
But
to the 50.
Yeah, but I think that is what was happening.
Keeping us on our toes as well with how well he was able to return the ball today.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So yeah, those are our stats from today.
Yeah.
And now we're going to take it to some player comments, player and coaches. So after the game, we get to talk to Coach Matt Rhule and Baker Mayfield. I'm going to cover the Matt Rhule. Andre is going to go over Baker Mayfield. I will say this: I like to share behind the scenes information because everybody wants to know what's the vibe of the locker room, what's this, what's that.
Especially after a game like this today.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it to you. So normally, all season long, after a loss or win, Coach Matt Rhule comes out of that locker room relatively timely. I don't know what the time is, but I just know I'm not seated long before he comes out. Today, it seemed like it was a little bit longer.
A little delayed.
A little bit. It wasn't like forever. It
even
wasn't like
up in the press box too. I was like, geez, where's this guy at? I mean, it felt a little more delayed than usual.
It was
on a normal Sunday, right?
Yeah. So he came out a little slower than usual. But we're going to go over some things from Coach Matt Rhule. I'm going to try to cue this in order, so bear with me here. What we talked about pregame was what? What did we notice? All the red, right?
All the red, yes. Everywhere, literally everywhere in the stadium today.
Yeah, and even I've heard other people talk about it too. Even like the traffic, we said, hey, it's a little bit more traffic than usual. And they're like, hold on, traffic and the pedestrian traffic was 49ers. So Coach Rhule was asked about that post-game, about what he notices of the fans and the change here. So I'm going to try to bring this up for you. Let's see if I can get it right on the first try here.
I believe in you, Chris.
You believe in me?
I think you got this.
I don't know. We'll see here. That's not it. Did not get it on that try. So let's go to another screen here. We're going to get it.
But yeah, just to piggyback off what you said, though, I mean, literally entering the game today, they were chanting, "Let's go Niners," literally anywhere and everywhere. They were just all huddled up, and they were excited for today's game, and it felt like a 49ers home game, which for us does not look too good, to say the least there.
This thing never lets me sort stuff how I want it to be sorted, which makes me a little delayed here. But give me a second. I'm going to try this one more time. Get it right. Let's see. All right. Fill in the blank here while I'm trying to find this. Tell them something good, Andre.
As we continue to move forward, I mean, and I'll just continue with the fanfare that we saw today.
I think I got it this time.
You got it?
I got it this time. Was I singing?
I think you were.
I don't want to be singing.
We're going to let Matt Rhule take over here and offer his thoughts on what happened.
Oh, no, I got it wrong.
Oh, no, not again.
I think I did. I'm going to play this clip, and then I'll just share with you guys what it is. I'm sorry. I don't want to waste time trying to get things in order because we just don't have time for all that. It wasn't a good day today as far as this team losing, and you guys don't want to see me fumble over the screen here.
While we're doing this, please leave your comments. I know there's a lot of people out there who are itching to say some things about this team, so please leave your comments in the comment section below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the Charlotte Vibe as we continue to cover this team moving forward. I guess you have Matt Rhule.
I have Matt Rhule. Here we go.
I don't pay attention to that. I mean, we kind of came in to the game. Obviously, San Francisco travels well. We knew that, but we didn't have to use silent count or anything like that. I know some teams have played them, have had to. I was just focused on the game and what was on the field, and I don't think it had an impact.
So he could say that, but you have to notice that, though. I mean, that's classic media speak. Hey, I don't really notice that. We're here locked into the game. But you cannot deny and I called it 70-30, 70 49ers, 30% Panthers fan. You just cannot deny the amount of red that you saw amongst the view of the stadium here today.
It was a ton of red. So
more than last week too.
Yeah, I think he just didn't know what to say, which I can't. He should be a little shook at this point, right after these kind of losses.
Shook is an understatement.
But if you didn't see all the red, even if you weren't here at the stadium today, I think you were on Twitter and maybe somebody had a picture of their TV, and it showed like all the red.
Yeah, even on the TV broadcast.
That was here.
It just shone through all the screens that people were watching, and it was definitely a sight to see. I mean, it did not feel like home field advantage for the home team. at all.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go Matt Rhule, opening statements, talking about the game today, the loss today. I have my comments. I'm going to play it for you. Hopefully, I know in the past you said the volume when I play the coaches are a little low. Hopefully that's fixed. If not, please leave me a comment. We'll continue to work on it.
Critique us, as they say.
Here we go. Matt Rhule.
Yeah, a disappointing end to that game. I thought that pick six right before the half really was a gut punch. I thought the guys came out and answered in the second half with the kick return and leading to a touchdown. But in the end, unfortunately, just wasn't enough. So credit to them. I thought they played well. I'll see what questions you guys have.
You guys came out, with the burst in the third quarter, early in the third quarter with the Christian touchdown. What and who was behind the decision to go for two that early in the quarter?
Yeah, down 14 with the ball on the one. Had the ball not been on the one, we wouldn't have done it. But just, I think we've talked a couple of times. Down 14 now, there's kind of like the whole analytics movement to go for two and make it a one-score game. The time was pretty close to the vest. We'd held them to really 10 points on defense. So had it been on the two, we would have done it. But with the ball on the one, feeling like with Christian, we could, hopefully punch it in from a yard out.
So Matt Rhule's comments there about how things really kind of went through this entire game, and
I had to play the part where he talked about going for two.
Yeah.
Because you didn't like that, right?
Yeah,
you were kind of wondering.
Well, and I was all on Twitter about that, and there was a lot of people who were just kind of stunned. And I was kind of surprised that they went for it, but I also knew he was going to say something involving the analytics, suggesting that they would, it would be smart for them to go for two there. I mean, again, it just boggles my mind, these kinds of boneheaded decisions. And, I'm trying to be as diplomatic as I can when it
You
comes
called him boneheaded. That's not nice.
I mean, it's just
boneheaded?
I just don't get it. I mean, you're down by, 18 at that point, and I don't know. It left me speechless. I mean, you just go for the common sense plays in a situation like that. And, you're just continuing to dig yourself a hole when you make these kinds of decisions at those kinds of moments in the game.
Yeah.
This is not good.
So we're here to answer your questions, maybe be your crying shoulder, your therapy about this Carolina Panthers team.
We are your Dr. Phil, as they say.
We are.
Collaboratively speaking.
So there was another time in which we had a field goal that we went for. Let me just play this clip because I'm not sure which one I have this one here.
Minutes left, you guys would know better than me. You have two timeouts, get the stop, get the ball. So unfortunately, they made a play and then wasted a little bit of time, but we did get the ball down two scores. With I think it was 3 or 4 minutes left. So you needed three scores. So we're gonna take the score and extend the game. There was no debate about that with the analytics guy or anything.
Pretty much when they went for that field goal with over 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter where they were down 18.
Oh, instead of going for the touchdown?
Yeah, that was another decision that a lot of people was pretty riled up, at least on the social media side of things. So they went for the field goal, and then they made it a 15-point game. In a situation like that, too, that's another one of those where there has to be a sense of urgency. You're in the fourth quarter, and you're down 18. You need to score touchdowns.
But he's like, it doesn't matter if it's going to be a field goal or a touchdown.
I mean, it felt like they just weren't trying to win at that point. It was kind of just they were conceding to the fact that, hey, we're down by a good bit here in the fourth quarter. Let's just go for the field goal and see what happens.
Are you joining the part of the fans that just aren't going to be happy no matter what because you just want to win? You can be. You're entitled to be.
I mean, I could say that, but I also have to be, again, diplomatic about my viewpoints. But
No, you don't. You don't. You just have to be professional. You can professionally not like this team anymore, what Matt Rhule's doing.
It just felt like they weren't making an effort to try to come back in this game. I think they just felt like, we were down by this much, we'll score the field goal, and again, we'll see what happens, moving forward in the game. But it just didn't feel like an effort was made to come back, to try to make it a game again like they did last week. At least last week, you kind of had that sense that they were doing that.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, today, the air just flew out of the ball, and they were just like, screw it, this game's over at this point.
So, hey, speaking about effort and giving up, right?
Yeah.
Let me now use my big brain and calculate. I believe I said before the game, Carolina Panthers are now, before the game.
Before the game,
They
yeah.
were 1-26 when what happened? You know what I'm going to say?
When they had their opponent score 17 points in a game.
All right.
17 or more points in a game.
And what's so bad about that? The league average is
22.
Yeah. So basically, as long as the team does average, we're going to lose. Halftime score, I forget exactly what it was halftime, but I know they had 17.
17-3.
So at that point,
17-3.
you could be thinking as a fan, well, it's over, right?
And you said it too, like, oh, once they reach 17 points, oh, kick back, get dinner ready, you know,
Yeah.
hold the lawn, because once they score 17, it's basically over at that point, right?
Do some meal prep. So, you
Yeah.
know, post game, talking to Matt Rhule, I'm feeling good. I work for you
That-
guys, right?
that
I
was a
work
good question
for the
that you asked,
fans.
too.
And you all have questions that you want to be asked. And so I asked him. And I had to take a moment to think about how to word it properly, like, hey, what? But I asked him about,
Yeah.
you're now 1-27. How do you keep your team from just kind of looking like, all right, well, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they heard it. Whether or not they're on social media all the time, it's hard not to hear storylines as big as when the Carolina Panthers get 17 points
Mm-hmm.
scored on them, they're going to lose. So I asked Matt Rhule about it. I'm going to play this clip, and then I'm going to tell you my thoughts about as he's responding to that question. But here we go. Let me get this clip queued up for you. I'm going to be pretty quick on queuing this up because it's the last one I got for you. Almost there. Hit this button. Mute our mic so you don't hear the feedback. Here we go. All right, so there you have it. Matt Rhule answered my question about what do you do to keep these guys thinking they have a chance, and from getting to the point where 117 points are scored, you're just kind of like, oh well, here we go. Let me check it in.
Yep.
He talked about watching the tape, basically motivating the guys, needing his coaches to do things. But this is what I want to point out from that question that I asked Matt Rhule. I felt like this guy was just so dejected when he was responding to that, and the way that he looked.
Is
and
that
his
the
voice,
vibe that you got
And his voice
after
kind of
that?
cracked a little bit when he first started. Like, I think I've already closed, so I can't play it again.
Yeah.
But as he started talking and he was looking right at me, I kind of felt like he was like, you know,
What do you want me to say in that situation, right?
it's bad. That's kind of like if you.
Yeah.
He didn't say it, but it's what
But
I
you
felt
felt
that
it.
energy from him, like, and his voice cracked a little bit. And then he mentioned about another reporter asking about, I think, points scored or something. He said, we got to score more points. I didn't beat him up on it, but I said, but how do you keep the guys from just thinking,
You know, it's
17,
over
I'm
after
checking
that.
out of the game? So that was his response to that question. And I feel like this is a guy who knows his seat is pretty hot.
It's very, very hot right now.
But, hey, there you have it. I wanted to share that with you.
And do you know which game they won
Which,
with that record of 1-27?
1-27. That's 28.
Do you know it?
How do you know? That's 20. That's a lot of knowing. Who was it?
It was the Arizona game in his fourth game as the Panthers head coach.
Yeah?
They won 31-21, and that
Okay.
was the only game that he has won. The team has won. Where their opponent has scored more than 17 points. That
Yeah.
was the only game that they won
In his first year?
in his first year.
Does anybody else struggle to remember the first year of that rule? No, good job. That's great. That's why.
Because I wanted to know that too. I was like,
So you-
what was the game that he won where his opponent scored more than 17 points,
Yeah.
yet his team won the game? And that was the game.
That was the
against
game.
Arizona back in 2020 in his fourth game as the Panthers head coach. So a little knowledge for you right here on
So-
Sunday evening.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned that they can't hear anything and there is no clip. Easton Young said that. I haven't heard that from anybody else. But
So
let
check
me
your end.
check. Let me check.
We'll
Make
check
double
our end
sure.
as well.
that we
'Cause, of
don't have
course,
any
we had
volume.
some audio issues.
I see
last
audio
week.
going on all of our systems, so unless somebody else shares that with me,
So we are going to triple
gonna-
verify what we're seeing on our end.
I'm going to assume that we're still good. Andre Cassidy, Baker
Chris.
Mayfield. I did not get a chance to watch his press conference as I was preparing for this show.
Yes.
What'd you get from Baker Mayfield's press
So
conference?
it was about a 7-minute conversation that he had with the press, and a lot of the questions that were brought up were, of course, about the injury that he suffered in the first half. With the ankle. He had a walking boot as he made his way to the podium today, so that's definitely not a good sign. A lot of people in the presser were asking about his availability for next week, and he basically said if he was cleared that he would play. That's
If
the
I'm
kinda
cleared,
guy,
I would play.
yeah, that's the kind of guy that he is. End quote. That's what he said. And then there was another.
If it's not
reporter,
broke, I'll play. I mean,
and
I feel like that's if
I
I'm
mean,
cleared.
and that's the thing.
But
with
what,
him.
what does it feel like? That's what, like Baker, what does it feel like if I'm
Right.
cleared? All right.
But
I'm
anywho,
sorry.
I mean, that will be discussed definitely over the course of this week. And then another question was brought up about his job performance, and specifically was asking him about, if he felt that his job was on the line. I don't remember verbatim how the question was asked, but Baker responded, well, do you think I'm not doing a good enough job, or do you think I'm not, worried about my job here, in a very, snarky way.
Like he was with me. Did I
Yeah.
get it? Did I get it? The Baker
That's the
started
vibe that
for
I
the week.
got. He was very feisty with his response.
Come
So,
on, Baker.
Again, it's just from the comments that I made last week on the post-game show, I don't think he fully understands how big of a moment this is for him, because he needs to get it right here in Carolina, because if he doesn't succeed here, I don't think anybody else next season is going to want him to be their starter. So the moment is, hey, you got to get together. You have to get your act together, because, again, if you don't, ain't nobody else going to be telling you to be their starter for them next year.
It's
the
over.
fact that Carolina and Seattle were the only two teams this past go-around to want to make a move after him, just shows you how the rest of the league views him.
Right.
And I really hope that, as much as he doesn't want to admit it, his job is kind of on the line this year. And
Yeah.
again, he's going to be a free agent after this season, so he needs to step up in order to, really, give himself some attention after this season, because it's really looking pretty bleak right now, especially with the injury that he suffered in this game too.
I agree. So we had some more feedback, and it seems like it was just that one clip that maybe was not easily heard. So again, unfortunately, on the clips when I play the coaches talking, I've heard some feedback that it's not that loud. I can only say right now, you can turn it up a little bit. There's nothing more I can do on our end, and I have to do it that way because I could put the clips on a different way, but it's going to take more time. And when we're losing,
Well, and I think for Carolina fans, like sanity, I think it's good that they weren't
Maybe.
able to hear some of those clips that we had prepared. So,
hey, Easton, tell me which clip you couldn't hear, and I'll gladly kind of
Yeah.
summarize it for you, which is something we do anyway after we play the clip, is kind of summarize what
at
it
least
is.
you have the patience to try to hear what the man said. So, I mean,
Yeah.
credit to you for doing that on your end there.
So, hey, this is the part where I want to again remind you all that we are here for you guys. So right now we're going over some things and thoughts on the game. I have one more piece that I want to go over for you, but we want to hear from you. All right, so please, if you have left your comments, be patient. We're about to get to them. If you have some questions that you want to leave for us, ask me or Andre, please start leaving them in the comments now. And once I get done with this segment here, then we'll go ahead and go through all of those comments, all right?
We promise.
We promise.
Pinky promise. I can
So-
guarantee you that.
I have some reflection on the game today.
Okay.
Quite a few, right?
Plenty.
Plenty.
A plenty.
I'm going to try to make them quick, though, because I know I want to get to you all's questions out there. I'm not sure how this comment is going to be received, but I kind of feel sorry for Matt Rhule. I do. Here's why I kind of feel sorry for him.
Take the floor, Chris.
I
Take the floor.
honestly feel like Matt Rhule kind of gets it, and he knows like what to fix. But he's just like, this is why I feel sorry for him. I feel like he's always like this
That
much
close,
too late.
right?
No, like he's like this far
Yeah.
too late in making that decision to make it effective, right? That's really what I feel. And I'm not saying like we should keep him. I'm not saying that. I feel bad because I feel like he does
Because you
learn.
have to view it from his perspective, too,
And he
when you
gets-
have these kinds of criticisms of him.
Yeah, and he gets better.
Yeah.
But it's always like, just not, the guy on the other side of the field gets on it quicker than he does,
Yeah.
and it's still like, oh, you're still going to lose. So I'm going to go through some things about why I say that, all right? We had some improvements today. We had a lot of improvements. Let's see the game. Is Blackshear, we already talked about this, his return game, right? So they keep trying stuff. Chuba Hubbard, he
Didn't
was kind of
work.
going with it, I guess, because he had to. I still
Yeah.
feel like he should have took him way quicker, but that's where I go to say
Yeah.
he's always just a hair too late in doing what he needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
So he yanks Chuba out of there, gets Blackshear out there, and now he has 200 yards in return yards.
Like, where was this last week? And it comes back to what you were saying. Like, man, we were
Right.
just so close.
So he does good there. I got another one for you. This team, the Carolina Panthers team as a whole, we had a fumble recovery early by the defense.
Yep.
That's like good because I didn't think that would happen. I didn't think this game. Now you know the final score was not close,
There wasn't.
but I feel like the game was
It felt
score-wise
closer.
close through like three
The third
quarters,
quarter, yeah, through
and then
three
the wheels
quarters.
kind of fell off with that turnover by Baker, and they just kind of went downhill.
Yep.
But when that happened early on, like we had, to me, lots of opportunities to stand
Ample
into the game
opportunities. Yeah.
by doing things that you did not think was going to happen. All right, Derek Brown,
I mean, he had a great game today.
he's continuing to play better and better. He had a blocked field goal today. He had a
batted pass.
and it
that
wasn't on
just
Baker
went by
Mayfield.
so-
Right? He had a batted pass, and he had some other things that did very, very well today. We talked about all the people that were out. You're going to talk about that a little bit here. Let me, my nose starts to run, people,
Right.
in the
Do a
wintertime.
little quick adjustment.
Yeah, quick
right?
adjustment there. But Frankie Louvu was out. Xavier Woods was out. Jeremy Chin was out. I'm not stealing your thunder because you're going to say why they were out. But you're like, man, this it's over. They have no chance. But they played good defense.
I mean,
The
it's that
entire-
next man up mentality right there.
Damian Wilson did excellent in filling in for Frankie Louvu. Let's see, what else do we have? I can't read my notes here. So pregame, I talked about, can we please run the ball? Just run it. Just force run. I don't care if we get just
Whatever
1
you had to-
yard.
just run the
but
ball.
just keep running the ball so you don't put yourself where you have to have Baker Mayfield back there throwing 40 times. Put Christian McCaffrey out there, run it, and then, have your balance, but don't just go back there and say, oh, we're going to throw. They did that.
They did,
They did.
yes.
Like first quarter, it was 4 passes, 8 rushes. When was the last time that happened?
Probably not at all this
4
season,
passes,
to be honest.
8
with you.
rushes. So we're running the ball more, and in my opinion, it was giving us a pretty good chance to win the ball game. It started to second quarter. It was a little different. By the half, it was 17 passes to 12 rushes.
Yeah.
So it didn't flip completely, but we started
there's
passing
still
a
that
little bit
balance
more.
there, though.
And then, the game started to kind of get out of hand and we had to pass more. But if you look at the game, when we were running it more,
Yep.
we were in it more. We started to have to pass more. We get less out of it. We pass more. We're even more out of it.
So notice a theme here.
But I like that it happened. That's where I
Yes.
feel like, again, Rhule, and I'm not saying that he needs to continue to stay
Right.
here. But I'm
But
just
he's
saying
listening to
why
some
I
of the things.
feel that I'm sad about it a little bit because I feel like the guy's just that he's like he's gonna lose his job because
It's
he's
a
just
game of inches
he's
kind of deal.
that slow. And then Debo Samuel. All right, Debo Samuel, heck of a football player. How many touches did he have the first half? None.
None.
Not until the second half were they able to get him involved in
I
the
think
game.
he only had 2 catches for like 22 yards or something
Yeah,
like that.
I could
today.
look it up if I need
He had
to.
a touchdown, but I mean his impact was
Late.
rather limited today.
It was late in the game. So those are my thoughts and reflections on the game. Again, I know some people may be hating me for the things that I've said here, but
But it's an honest assessment.
I don't feel like he still needs to be here.
Yeah.
But I feel like potentially he could have another NFL opportunity. If you look at it from the fact that he's always just a hair behind.
Just a little bit.
Yes.
Just a little bit there.
I'm Chris Jenkins. Those are my reflections on the game. Andre,
So this is Andre Cass today, and I'm going to give you my reflections on the game.
you got
I wanna,
you got the injuries?
Yeah, we're going to do the injuries. And
Okay, you gotta mix it in
And
there?
then I'll mix it in kind
Okay.
of with
I kind
the
of
flow
threw
of
you the
game.
wrong question.
Yeah.
I said reflections, but however you want to do it.
But it's a way to reflect. I mean, the injuries in today's game, with not having Frankie Louvu, not having Jeremy Chin, not having Xavier Woods, that's a lot of players on your defense that you didn't really have available to you today. And, they had, such a big impact with how the defense played early on in the season. Frankie Luvu, arguably one of the best defensive players that we have seen, up to this point in the year. He could have been, honestly, the MVP through the first 4 games of the season. Jeremy Chin going to be on IR for the next 4 weeks, so this will be an extended thing. Xavier Woods, I was a little surprised that he wasn't able to go today, but he's been a rather key part of what we do defensively. So, Carolina did their thing. They were able to hold their own in the first half against San Fran's offense. Again, they were limiting Debo Samuel. Brandon Ayuk was, hit or miss. George Kittle, they tried to get him the ball early on. So, there were a lot of give and take in this game, but, they had their moments, and that's kind of just my overall reflection. Throughout the course of the game, particularly in the first half, Carolina did hold their own, and they were able to keep the game competitive. And, of course, once the third and the fourth quarter came around, things just started to fall apart, particularly when Baker threw that interception in the first half. So it's just a matter of, again, can we just play 4 quarters of good, solid football?
Was that a second half interception?
That was the
Baker?
first half.
He threw one in the first half?
He threw one in the first half, but it kind of just set the tone for the rest of the game.
Okay.
So can we just play 4 good, solid quarters? We've shown that we could play 2 solid quarters this week and last week, but can we do it for the entirety of the game? And we just haven't seen it yet from this team. And the time is ticking because, oh boy, people are getting frustrated.
What about, we had some endgame injuries as well,
Yeah,
right?
I forgot to mention that too. Baker Mayfield and J.C. Horn, the 2 injured Panthers players. J.C. Horn had I believe it was an ankle injury, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not at all sure. Was it his hip, though?
It was his hip, actually. It was his hip. Got taken out in the third quarter, didn't return for the game, and then Baker Mayfield with an ankle injury and then a walking boot. He was wearing on his left ankle during the press conference. So we'll see how that goes, but definitely not the best news for him as he continues to try to really resurrect what's going on with his career here in Carolina.
Yeah, and about Baker Mayfield being in that boot, I'm not at all going to try to claim any kind of doctoral expertise.
But it is a good look, though.
When he's in the ankle boot, that's not the end of the world. Guys get in ankle boots pretty quickly after a game, and you'll still see them play. Something I think that's extremely precautionary just because until they get further tests on it to put people in a walking boot. But nevertheless, he's in a walking boot, and we'll continue to bring you some updates on that. Hey, really quickly, Debo Samuel had 1 rush for 9 yards, and this stat is saying that he had 0 receiving. That's not right, is it?
In the first half. That should be first half.
Oh, there we go. It helps when you look at the whole game.
Yeah.
All right, so this is much better.
That makes my point, though.
Yeah, that was your point. So overall, he had, again, in the first, overall, 2 rushes for 12 yards.
Okay.
And then he had 2 catches for 20 yards. So still not much there.
And J.C. Horn pretty much had him the entire game. So, I mean, that's a credit to J.C. Horn, another guy who's been playing pretty well up to this point, really doing a great job on the league's, if not one of the best receivers that the league has seen this season. So, I mean, that's a credit to J.C. Horn and what he's done so far this season.
You ready to go through some comments out there?
Oh,
you guys
I'm ready.
patiently waited for us to get through.
I'm ready to see what the people are saying
our
out here.
pregame show, in which I hope you appreciate, even though I know it may be tough because they're losing. But you know what I'm going to do? Please subscribe to our YouTube channel because there's still, how many more games left?
Well,
we played 5, so 12.
So 12 more games.
Still 12 more games, 13 more weeks of covering this Carolina Panthers
to
team.
see our smiling faces.
Yes. So subscribe so that will continue to help me get guys on the show.
Yes.
Get you some inside information, have you with a chance to talk to those people. Help us get to what we are probably now 5,000. So help us get to 5,100.
Yeah, we are up there.
Hit the like button. Helps other Carolina Panthers fans find out about us, as well as hit that bell notification. That way when we go live like we are now.
Yeah, we're independent, so you know what we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
We're unbiased, and we're going to get you the news and the facts from how we see it. But we're also going to be diplomatic as well. I'm saying that a lot today, diplomatic.
I am going to control the comments. I'm going to let you read today.
Okay,
Is that fair? Can we do that?
Yes.
All right, let's go.
I'm cool with that. So we got Ali Bodrick, of course, who was in our pregame show, earlier. Welcome back, fellows. Welcome back to you. Thank you for sticking with us here throughout the course of the day. And he also left another comment as well. C.J. Henderson sucks. We'll let that speak for itself. He seems to draw fat flags at the wrong time when the defense has an opportunity to get off the field. Now, I will say that PI call that he had on him, didn't agree with the call. I felt like he made a great play on the ball without impeding on the receiver's ability to get to the ball. That's just my opinion.
You think that nobody, the football guys, just want Matt Rhule out of here, and they say, give him the flag, help him out.
Man.
Yeah, that was costly, though.
Yeah, that was a costly one for sure.
I'll read this one even though you got this.
Yeah.
Baker didn't get any balls batted down, but he punk faked himself a pick six. So much for the bounce back. I'll just leave it there.
Taylor Styles, not a fan, no positives. Rhule is a bad NFL coach.
All right.
That one will speak for itself as well. I don't want to divulge into that one. And then, do you know the
Hey,
this is a good one right
Did you
here.
say who the person
Yeah,
was?
this is the same one.
Okay,
right?
Taylor Styles.
I'll say it again just so we can get your name out there.
Maybe I'm getting old. I
Right.
forget.
Do you know the definition of insanity? If it's doing the same thing and expecting a different result, and Rhule is insane, Tepper is insane, and I'm insane for watching them.
No, they are doing some different things.
They are.
They
but
are.
The
They
results,
ran the ball more. They got a different guy back there at,
But Chris,
at
the
running
results are
back.
still the same. Though.
They got Terrace Marshall Jr. out there at
3
receiver.
weeks too late.
I told you he's just a hair too late, but he gets it. Like, he gets it. He's
I
just,
apologize for
he's
the
just-
bluntness that I just displayed there, but yeah, there you go. So we got Vo here. Matt Rhule should be gone by tomorrow. Okay, giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Hold on. Is this guy
Is this the
off
same
probation?
guy?
Is he? Is he still on probation? I don't remember.
Well, he's been calmer.
He's been calmer.
Today, because I guess we got our haircuts.
Yeah.
So he's been laying back on the roast, if you will.
So we're gonna read it.
Yes, let's
All right,
read it.
all right.
We'll take him out of probation just for today.
Just
right?
for today.
Wave Baker. Okay, but again, what are our options if we get rid of Baker? PJ Walker,
Which
Sam Darnold. I mean, it doesn't get any much better than that after deciding to move forward.
PJ
Oh,
Walker was
boy,
5
here
or
we
6 today
It was garbage time,
for
Chris.
60 yards,
Come on.
and he averaged 10 yards per pass, almost twice as much as Baker Mayfield,
Okay.
averaging 6.
So I'll give him credit for that.
And
but
his quarterback rating,
108.
out the roof, 108. Baker Mayfield's was 61.7.
But Chris, it was garbage time.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a sad state of affairs right now that we're in.
I'm
but-
just entertaining.
Oh,
I'm just
man,
entertaining.
right. Taylor Styles again had the stream on in your background in case the audio goes out.
Hey. What
What do you think we're doing right now,
We got
Taylor?
it going,
We
man.
got it back
we got
up,
it
man.
Going. That's how we know.
But where was his advice last week?
Yes.
Little Rhule being a little late. You were a week late with that piece of advice. But again, it's the thought and the intent that counts.
We're there.
So we're here, and thank you, Taylor, for that. Underground West, get Rhule out of here.
It's too early, man. It's too early. From a business perspective, it's too early
Because he's a business.
in the season to get him out of here. Because then you got the other guy that's going to come in, which is who. You almost feel like you want to bring somebody from inside so things aren't completely turned around for your interim coach. But then it's almost like, are you even giving that interim coach a chance?
A fair shot.
Because you're like, hey, we lost 4 games. We suck. Nobody
Yep.
likes it. Why don't you come in here and beat the fall guy? I might not want to do that. I don't know. But we'll see.
Whatever decision.
When it
they
happens,
make,
I'll let you know.
Yeah, it's not going to be good. Lee Jones, embarrassing sight today with all the red in our city.
It was so much.
It was
red.
a lot.
I feel like, and I don't have every game. I've been covering the Carolina Panthers for well over, I think about 15 years now. It's been a long
15
time.
years.
A long time.
And look at you. You still look fantastic, man. What the heck?
Thanks.
This man does not age.
Thanks. I do, like, when I get up in the middle of the night to get my son out the crib because
Yeah.
he's crying, my back sometimes is
Aw.
so, physically I still feel my
Father
age.
time,
Yeah,
right?
father time still creeps up on me a little bit there. But in terms of, I know people in the past have been like, hey, Panther fans, stop selling your tickets. Stop selling your tickets, especially to the other team and blah, 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 blah. Today was a point where if I honestly feel like you felt like there was more Panther fans here because if you see there's blue seats, right? So with all the emptiness that's out there, you feel like, oh, well, there's a lot of red and there's spaces of blue. Where there's spaces
And
of blue.
gray. Don't forget about the gray seats.
Because of the seats. And then in the gray you could see more. But it was, I mean, especially, I wish I had a cameraman so he could zoom in and focus. Where's our cameraman out? But like from the 15 to about the 35, those three sections behind the 49ers bench had to have been 90% Niners fans. And overall, I say of the seats, let's say 75% of those seats were filled with 49er fans. 5% were Panther fans.
And they probably converted to being 49ers
And the other
fans.
10% were just flat out empty.
Yeah.
For people who I guess who just like, I'm not going to sell my ticket to those 49er fans. But they were here in droves.
And here's the thing, the sunset during the game, it kind of highlighted all the red that was seen, especially over there on that end.
Yeah.
I mean, it just kind of was the microcosm of how things went today. Not good. Definitely not good, to say the least. Okay, Taylor Styles again. I mean, I appreciate the comments. I know Chris does. But Taylor, thank you for just being a very active member of the comments here today.
We need it.
Because we love to hear from you and everybody out there. Defense does what it can, and they have. Special teams does everything and more. But the offense, save us, C.J. Stroud. Are we already thinking about the draft? And we're only 5 games in. It's, again, another situation where, where do we go? It's like, what can we do here without having to resort to looking at the draft? But, I mean, with all these losses that are happening here, I mean, what else can we do but look to the future? Cheer, yes, in the midterm, in the short term, in the midterm, but long term, unfortunately, the draft looks like our best option.
Man, it's tough.
It's
like
very tough.
Here, I'm going to be honest. Not that I have not been honest, but if as a fan, this period right now that we're in, with when Ron Rivera left, with going to the Super Bowl, and then since the Super Bowl was it in 2015?
2015.
7 years ago.
I was 15 years old.
It has just gone
And I'm 22.
down, and it's like so hard to just be like, "Rawr, Panthers," kind of like whatever.
Yeah, it's like ever since, Cam didn't die for that ball, ever since that moment, it's just been like we had an apex and we're just going down Mount Everest, and it just seems like we're going down faster and faster and faster.
Yeah.
A very painful fall from grace, if you will.
I'll take over a little bit. You can do good. Benjamin Farmer, the game was at Bank of America Stadium. It was Levi Stadium, absolutely. It's over after the season. Fire Rhule, give Golden Corral a proper coach like Ken Dorsey. And try to wield the Terminator. And we're going to get some
I love you, Donald. You got a sense of humor, my guy.
Chance Hines, you hearing any more chatter about Rhule's job? I heard Baker is in the boot. Is that true? So Baker is in the boot.
He is.
Haven't heard anything about Rhule's job. It was reported a couple weeks ago, unless there's a catastrophe. Things are building. There was certainly plenty of red out here. But I feel like David Tepper knows when he's wanting to pull the plug, and he's just waiting for it to get to that point of pulling the plug. And we'll all find out what that is. My opinion of that is it will either happen during the season or it will not happen at all. All right? Meaning
no in between.
They're not going to wait until the end of the season when we're 1-16 to fire Matt Rhule. Or they're not going to wait till the end of the season when we're 7 and
10.
7 and 10
with the added
and
game.
fire. That's why, he knew I was waiting for him to do the calculation. To fire Matt Rhule is going to happen during the season. I said it before. I'll say it again. My good friend Julian Rance. I haven't seen this guy in quite a while, man. Hope all is doing well. Thanks for seeing me on the sidelines. We are grinding, along with my co-host Andre Cassidy.
We are
Please
out here.
subscribe. Please tell a friend. Please hit that like button, because in spite of how bad this season is, we need to grow so we can continue to do our independent media thing. Our numbers growing, and your support and tuning in really, really helps us do that. These were some earlier comments about not being able to hear. Is Matt Rhule getting fired tomorrow? We don't know, David Screws, but we'll let you know.
Time will tell.
By the way, Easton, we did not think that you were being mean or disrespectful. We want you all to let us know so that we can fix the
verify
technical
what we're hearing.
difficulties when
Yeah.
we have them, because we don't have a broadcast team, we don't have a truck out there, and we don't have things in our ears to let us
Yes.
know. So we do rely on you
So
all to
you
let us
all
know.
are our third independent broadcast team who are out there. So when you're leaving your comments, this is our way of verifying whether or not that we can hear ourselves and actually see ourselves, and then transmitting all that to all of you out there.
All right, we're going to keep running through these. At this point, we're all going to say the same thing week after week. Prolonging match release, it's just torture. If Tepper wants fans, firing the head coach is the start.
Yep.
Both our defense played decent till Horn got hurt, and that was too much special teams, and our defense showed hard. Why can't our quarterback?
Whoa.
I don't feel like Baker was bad today. Like, go ahead. Like, Baker that we've been seeing where he's just missing people all over the field, where he's having batted balls. I didn't see all of that today. I felt like, especially that first half, that he was on target.
For Baker's standard, yes.
He was on target, and, I think late in the game, it was like Christian McCaffrey come out the backfield, come around, hit you in the flat. For like
I felt like that was literally what they were doing that whole
repeat
fourth quarter,
and repeat,
right?
But I'm not saying that Baker was great,
yes.
but in my opinion, Baker was
He
improved
played
today.
better than he did last week.
Yes, and that's what you want to see. And I feel like that is hard when you continue to get better.
Yes.
Even though it wasn't as great as we might of a leap that we might have wanted to see, that he did that. And
And
if he
we-
continues to do that, then he might not save himself a job here.
Yeah.
But he might give himself an opportunity to be a starting quarterback somewhere. What do you want to say?
We played better, but we also ran into a better team with San Fran.
So that
And I feel like that's going to happen again next week when we play LA, where, hey, we'll make that mark improvement, but LA is, a tier higher, a couple tiers higher than where we are right now. I hate to say it, but, it's just the truth. So, and I believe they lost today to Dallas, LA.
yes.
So,
Well, I can't say affirmative, but I know they were losing.
to my knowledge, of
Yeah.
course. But this will be their get-right game next week against Carolina. So we'll see how that goes for them. But that's next week.
Felix Graham, go ahead, take it.
Yeah, so, all right, guys, glad to see you again this week. Hello to all. So, Chris, how much time do you give this coaching staff? 1 to 2 weeks or gone tomorrow?
Man, you guys are going to make me think about this. Unfortunately, I can because it's not super windy and cold out here.
Yes.
All right, so when do I think Matt Rhule could be fired?
That is like the question of the hour.
So I did good with my pregame predictions about the
You did
the,
do good.
the
with
fourth
and
down,
down
things.
Situation.
Let me just talk about that since it's
Yeah.
on my brain at
Because
the
he
moment.
highlighted that,
'Cause
and
I might
boy,
forget.
that was a spot-on prediction that you had, sir.
So earlier in the pregame show, shout out to Panther Nation podcast. Rashad has been joining us each week, and he was talking about, we hadn't talked about it the entire pregame show, and he brought up the third down conversions needing to be better.
Yeah.
And I said, actually, our fourth downs are better. And he wanted to see our team get more snaps. And I said, you know what he should do? He should let it go to fourth down more often.
And you said it sarcastically, but it turned out to be the case.
Right. And so we did go for fourth down more often today than we have
Yeah.
all season. And did we make all of them?
We were 3 of 5 on fourth down, so 60%.
Yeah.
And we were 3 of 15 on third down, which is
Terrible.
like 20-something%, which is about how they've been faring up to this point in the season, which unfortunately is last in the NFL. I believe we are the last team in the NFL on third down conversions.
You think we'll be the last people on the field tonight?
I hope not.
All right.
Hey, it turns out to be the case. We're doing it for you, everybody out there tuning in on
All
the
right.
Charlotte Vibe post-game show.
All right. So I'm really going to try to give you a thoughtful response here, Felix.
So back to your question.
When do I think it would likely happen? So we lost today. That makes 2 games that we now have lost that were not close.
Yep.
We're going to play the Rams next week.
And then Tampa Bay
Then
the
Tampa.
following week.
So you know what? I'm going to I don't know who said this, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, they said, 1-7?
I'm feeling like the Atlanta Falcons game could be a good point to do so, maybe.
Pull the plug. right?
Yeah. At that point, you've had about almost halfway point of the season.
That's like 8 games, so
That's
right
still
at the
early.
halfway
That's still how many
point.
coaches get fired that early in the season?
It's happened before, but not often.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. It's tough to see it happening before the halfway point of
Yeah.
the season. Even though, like, I may want it to happen, it's like you don't see it happen because it makes things so difficult for the other coach.
To take over once the actual head coach gets fired.
Yeah,
Right?
because you want to give, like, I'm not saying I want to see him out there, but it's only 5 games.
Yeah.
So you want to give the guy his just time to fail for this season with his new staff and people, right? And I know fans were thinking about the cumulative of all the 3 years.
Yeah.
But Tepper did give him this season, and you don't give him the season and say, I'm only going to let you play 3 games, and a decision is going to be made. So I think at this point, Tepper, he's likely going to wait until further along in the season.
And, this is a decision he doesn't want to make, and it's a decision that is ultimately going to happen, at some point. It's a matter of if.
You think he's going to be fired?
I think
Breaking
he
news.
is.
I'm just
I
messing with
think he is. I mean, it's just a matter of not if or when. But it's just, when you look at it in the long term, he just has been. He's always come up short, and you mentioned it before earlier in the post-game show. Every time that he thinks that he has it figured out, it just comes up just a couple short. So, I mean, with him, yeah, I'm going to say Atlanta too, but, if it were to happen tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be a little happy, but, it's just not a good situation for anybody involved right now. And you have to feel for them. You definitely do have to feel for them. You got to view for it from their perspective too. You do have to feel for them because, this is not the result that anybody wanted.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Hey, so we got to start to wrap this up because I could see, even though somebody told me I need glasses. Can you believe those people?
Really?
I need glasses. I can see.
Weren't you at an eye exam the other day?
Hey, shh.
Oh, I've said too much. I'll be quiet.
We
on
got
that
about
aspect.
10 minutes left of all this equipment running without
Yes.
cutting off, all right? So we're going to kind of skip through some things to wrap this up. Always appreciate everybody watching.
Anthony Rochelle. I am very disappointed. I am embarrassed. Yeah, that kind of encapsulates everything right now. Why Big Jordan? Don't win any meaningless games. Okay, that speaks for itself there. Miss Johnson, your honeybee, right?
You can say Jenkins. That's her real name.
Jenkins.
Jenkins.
Okay.
That's his before man.
Is it Tamia?
Taima.
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 That's why I was like, should I pronounce it?
That's
Yeah.
all right.
1 to 2 quarters is not enough to win. Come on, Panthers. I mean, you hit it on the nail there.
Uh-oh.
Who else we have?
This is the
Cam.
son.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
We need to do better, a.k.a. get rid of Matt Rhule. Man, your son is very blunt. I must tell you, he is straight to the point on that one. Jarius Behringer, until Rue and McAdoo, wow, I think he did that on purpose with the way that he spelled it, are out, we'll continue to lose games and fans. And again, the pictures and the evidence just speak for itself on that one. Chris Hendrick, Wilkes will pipe it clean. That means Phil Snow, Ben McAdoo, and anyone else connected to Rhule and his college network.
So you're saying give the job to Steve Wilkes? I think that's what he's saying there,
I
right?
think I would like for that to happen, just due to the pro experience that he brings to the table. Justin Quick, we should have done a better job at getting tight ends involved who can catch the ball everywhere else, or everyone else in the league seems to have elite tight ends except us. Why haven't we reached out to a veteran so far? I mean, there is a guy named Eric Ebron out there who kind of I think he played football in Carolina, college
yeah,
football.
something. He
in
has some kind of
Carolina.
connections to the area.
So it wouldn't hurt, it wouldn't hurt to reach out to him. I feel like that would be something that could be something of an interest, or someone of an interest, excuse me.
All right. I'm going to end it up here with Chance Hines.
Okay.
Out of our staff, do you think our defensive coordinator could be our interim head coach? I think he deserves it. What do you guys think? So actually, not being picky here, but you're talking about our secondary.
Or no, secondary.
I believe you're talking about are you talking about Phil Snow, or did you mean to say Steve Wilkes? So Chance.
I think he's talking about Phil Snow.
Chance, we're going to give you
Give you a second to clarify
opportunity
that. Yeah.
to clarify that for us so that we can answer it and get on. We're the last ones here.
That's pretty indicative of how everything's going.
You said Wilkes.
Okay, so good thing we gave him the opportunity to
Yes.
clarify that there.
Out of our staff, do you think our Steve Wilkes could be our interim head coach? Everybody likes him as the interim head coach, right? He's had head coach experience before that 1 year out in Arizona. Players love him. He seems to motivate well. I talked to him in the preseason down in Spartanburg. I like the way he talked about building relationships with guys and some standards. He certainly could be a good candidate for it, but
Is it realistic?
I just feel like, you want an opportunity to do well when you get that other audition to continue to be a head coach,
Yeah.
right? You don't want to just go in there and be the fall guy and you can't do well because you got so many pieces that are not put together well. And now, like, Coach Rhule talks about putting stuff on tape. Now Wilkes would have put something on tape which says, oh, you're still coaching losing teams, so we'll take forever to give you a hard time. I don't know if I want to do that, if given the opportunity. Because
that's a tough position to be in.
I will tell you this.
regardless.
Ever since I've been here, and again, it's about 15 years that I've been covering this team, every single interim head coach has been, I won't say the coach has been terrible, but the record has been awful.
And the situations have
Awful.
been awful, too.
The interim head coach has never come in here and you're like, oh, okay. Like, we can have fun watch. No, it's been, like, terrible.
And then my question to you also is, when was the last time that an interim head coach actually had a successful run? I mean, the only one that I can think of is Jason Garrett when he took over for Wade Phillips with the Cowboys back in 2009, I want to say. He led them to like a 5-3 record in their final 8 games. But it's rarely something that happens where an interim takes over and then does better than his predecessor. So, I mean, it's a tough ask for them to do, to take over after, what you had before you knew didn't work out.
I say this.
It's a big ask.
I got to say this before I forget. I say
Yes.
this. Tepper, if you fire Rhule early, before later in the
You
season,
think they're talking right now?
then give Wilkes the opportunity to be the interim head coach. But give him that opportunity to be the interim head coach because you are heavily, and not just saying it, but because you are heavily going to give him the opportunity to continue the coach beyond the season.
Okay.
All right? Give it to him early, but also with the truth that you will heavily and would like to consider him for permanently being the head coach.
Down the road.
Yeah.
After this season.
Yeah. If you do that, I like that. You can get rid of Rhule earlier. Otherwise, I don't like it too much. He said a great answer. Boom. We're going to end the show on that for
Yes,
many reasons.
on
My
that
battery's
high note
low
there.
here. Lights are kind of going out. We're about at an hour. We hope you guys appreciate it. You know what? I'm going to let Andre Cassidy wrap us up.
Oh, man, I feel so honored.
Hey.
Well, thank you for giving me that privilege.
You've earned it.
And to everybody out there who has given us the privilege to help, cover this game today.
Like,
and,
subscribe.
and like, subscribe, and
Like,
keep
subscribe.
on tuning on in to the Charlotte Vibe.
Like, subscribe.
Excuse me. Like, subscribe, and of course, thank you for leaving the comments on our page here today. I'm going to go ahead and close it out today.
All right.
For the man of the people, Chris Jenkins, Andre Cassidy.
Why do we shake hands?
Because it felt horrible. It was a moment. It felt like a really good moment to have. So until next time, everybody, thanks for tuning on in, and we'll see you next time. Peace out, everybody.